This right here is one of the most unique smelling fragrances on the market. It's called Narciso Rodriguez For Him, and today we are going to take a closer look at it. That's next here on Nordic Fragrance. Hi, I'm Tommy and you are watching Nordic Fragrance. Welcome. The sense of smell can be a very powerful tool. Fragrances can invoke many different feelings on people when they smell them. You can feel invigorated, energetic, you can feel happy, sad, confident, masculine, whatever. There are so many feelings that can be invoked by smelling a fragrance. I have experienced many of those sensations when smelling fragrances, but no fragrance have affected me stronger than this one, Narciso Rodriguez For Him. This fragrance gets me very emotional every time I wear it. And not always in a good way, I must add. This fragrance actually affects me so strongly at times that I sometimes avoid wearing it. I noticed this the very first time I wore this fragrance. I woke up in the morning energetic and in a very good mood. I sprayed this on myself, got some coffee and went to work. During the course of the day, however, I felt more and more melancholic and thoughtful the longer the day went on. I had no idea why I felt this way. It was a good day at work and I was in a good mood from the start of the day. But the longer the day went on, I just got more and more melancholic and almost a little sad at the end of the day, for no apparent reason at all. I finally realized that it was this fragrance that affected me that strongly. And still today, whenever I wear this fragrance, I always get melancholic and almost a little sad for some reason. So Narciso Rodriguez For Him surely is a very powerful fragrance, in the sense that it affects the emotions, at least of me, very strongly. I'm going to tell you more about how this fragrance smells later, but let's start with the presentation of the bottle. This is Narciso Rodriguez For Him, the Eau de Toilette. And as far as I know, this bottle comes in the sizes 50 and 100 ml only. At least I haven't found any other size of the bottle. Unfortunately, I don't have the box because I bought this one in a gift set, so there was no box included. But the bottle itself is very, very pretty. It's in the color of steel grey and the bottle is painted on the inside and it says Narciso Rodriguez For Him on the front. Very beautiful bottle in my opinion. On the top we have a protective cap. It's not magnetic, but it sits pretty tight, so you can actually hold it by the cap without risking to drop it. So let's see how the sprayer performs. Oh, this is a beautiful sprayer, really good sprayer, and really beautiful bottle. So overall, very good presentation for Narciso Rodriguez For Him. So how does this fragrance actually smell then? Now I normally don't list the individual notes of every fragrance that I review, and I have a very good reason for not doing so. Because to most people, just listing the individual notes in a fragrance doesn't really describe how the fragrance smells. To a very trained nose, yes, they can get a good hint of what the fragrance smells like by reading the individual fragrance notes. But for most people, it just doesn't say that much if I say that the fragrance contains, for example, labdanum. I do make an exception, however, if there are just a few well-known fragrance notes. I could, for example, say that this fragrance smells a lot like leather and tobacco. Then most people would get a good hint of what the fragrance smells like. But generally, I don't describe the individual notes. I must make an exception for Narciso Rodriguez For Him though. And there are two strong individual notes at play in this fragrance. It's musk and violet leaf. Narciso Rodriguez is very well known for their good quality musk in their fragrances, and this one is no exception. The musk in this one is just beautiful. It's a little earthy, almost mushroomy in its scent character. And if you really want to know how a good musk smells like, I'd strongly suggest that you buy a Narciso Rodriguez fragrance, because their musk is just one of the best musks in the designer fragrances available. The other note in this fragrance is violet leaf, and that is a very interesting fragrance note. Normally when you use violet leaf, it has sort of an aquatic feel to it, with a little hint of cucumber in it. But depending on how much violet leaf you use in the fragrance and what you blend it with, and how you blend it, it can take on many different properties and smell very different in many different fragrances. For the most part, violet leaf is used to give a fragrance aquatic feel. But in other fragrances, like for example Fahrenheit by Dior, violet leaf is used to give the fragrance that distinct petroleum feel that you get from Dior Fahrenheit. In Narciso Rodriguez For Him, however, the violet leaf together with this beautiful musk gives off a hint of a fragrance that smells something like wet pavement or wet cement or something like that. It is very unique. I have never smelled anything like it in any other fragrance that I have smelled. So Narciso Rodriguez For Him is basically a very beautiful and very unique fragrance with the main notes of violet leaf and musk. But this fragrance is also often described as the funeral fragrance, and I can understand why. You get sort of like a sad feeling in your body, in your mind, when you smell this fragrance. This is a sad fragrance for some reason. It smells sad, it smells grey and gloomy and all of that. And that sad smell is the main reason that I don't use this fragrance enough, because it affects me so strongly. When I wear this fragrance, I always feel sad. And that is not a feeling that you want to have most of the time. So even though I think that this is a very nice and beautiful fragrance, I can't wear it too much, because it always makes me feel sad and gloomy and melancholic. So let's move on to the rating of Narciso Rodriguez For Him. What do I think about this fragrance? I do think it's a very nice and very beautiful and well blended fragrance, and I do enjoy it a lot. However, I don't enjoy the feeling that it invokes on me when I wear it. But it's no problem at all with the fragrance itself. It is very beautiful and it is very unique, and I give it a smell rating of 8. To get a female's opinion on this fragrance, as always, I asked my beautiful girlfriend about her thoughts on Narciso Rodriguez For Him. She also thought it was a very beautiful fragrance. Not the best fragrance in my collection maybe, but at least well above average. She also gave Narciso Rodriguez For Him an 8 in smell rating. Next up is the strength rating. Most of the times you get about 4 to 5 hours out of this fragrance. On rare occasions even 6 hours. But this is one of those fragrances that you think have vanished after about 2 or 3 hours, but people around you can still smell it. So it's there, and suddenly it's gone, and then it comes back, and so forth and so on. It's not a very stable fragrance in that way. This is also a very light and airy fragrance. It's not an aggressive or thick fragrance. It do projects very well for the first hour, however, and the sillage of this fragrance is just great. It lingers around beautifully in the air around you. But after the first hour, it slowly fades away, and then sometimes it's gone and then it comes back. But most of the times I smell it for at least 3 or 4 hours, sometimes even 5. So I give this a strength rating of 4. Next is versatility. Now I don't find too many occasions to wear Narciso Rodriguez For Him really. It's not strong enough to use on a night out. It's not sweet and seductive enough to use on a date night. It's not elegant enough to use dressed up. I mostly use this fragrance casually. And I also do believe that this might be a good office fragrance. It's not offensive in any way. It's best suited for spring, summer and early fall, I would say. And I think this fragrance goes very well for every age group really. So to me, it's not the most versatile fragrance, and I give it a versatility rating of 3. Lastly, the price rating of Narciso Rodriguez For Him. You have to pay about 55 euros or $65 for a 100 ml bottle of this fragrance. This puts Narciso Rodriguez For Him in the kind of mid-range for designer fragrances. Not overly expensive, but certainly not cheap either. So price rating for Narciso Rodriguez For Him is a 7. So, to conclude this review, would I recommend any one of you watching this to buy Narciso Rodriguez For Him? Yes, I would recommend it, but not in a very strong way. It certainly is a very beautiful, well-blended and unique fragrance, but it's not one of the best fragrances I own. Now, I may be a little biased in this because it affects me in a kind of a negative way when I wear it, and I believe that many people think that this is one of the greatest fragrances available. And I certainly see why they would think that this is a real masterpiece, but to my nose, just isn't one of the best ones. It's a little sad, it's a little gloomy, and I imagine that this is the perfect scent for a rainy day. But other than that, and just for casual use, I don't really see many good occasions to wear Narciso Rodriguez For Him, sadly. So I certainly would recommend it, but I won't strongly recommend it. And this is definitely a test before buy fragrance. So this was my review of Narciso Rodriguez For Him, the Eau de Toilette version. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support me and don't miss any future videos and top lists, please click the subscribe button. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves, fragrance lovers.